Jim, now we're going to move to our regular council meeting, and now we have all rise, please. Okay, for our pastor son, our city manager, to give us a praise to safeguard our city and the praise the best for our residents. Thank you.
Father, may the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight. Lord, our strength and our
Do we need to do a roll call again? Yes. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos.
Here.
Councilman Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Shoemaker. Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado.
Present.
Mayor Wu.
Here. Now we're moving to the oral communication. Do we have any email or any text or any hangovers? Okay, would you please, how many we have?
I have 5.
5?
I received 5 emails, and we have 1 at the door.
Okay, so can he give you the thing? You can read it for the person?
I'm sorry, I have 6 communications.
6 communication. Okay, so go ahead to read the first one.
First one is from Jim Grivich. The agenda item titled Comprehensive Annual Finance Report, CAFR, makes a statement in financial highlights that appears to be an attempt to withhold information about the primary cause of $3.1 million in deficit spending in the general fund. Specifically, it states, this is mostly due to the loss of $3.1 million in the general fund, which was primarily caused by $1.7 million in anticipated general liability related expenditures due to claims and legal fees and program expenses. The facts are this. 1, public safety spent $2.7 million more than was budgeted when the City Council adopted the budget in August of 1819. Number 2, public safety spent $3.5 million more in fiscal year 1819 than was actually spent in the previous 1718 fiscal year. A review of the detailed accounting report shows that almost all of the excess expenditures occurred in the fire department. It is incredible that expenditures would increase by these amounts when the City Council specifically eliminated engine number 4 in August of 2018 in order to reduce expenditures. I can find no evidence that the City Council ever approved additional budget to allow these additional expenditures. The official budget policies adopted by the City Council do not give the City Manager the authority to unilaterally increase overall appropriations without the City Council approval. I believe the City Council and the public deserve a full and complete public disclosure of what happened in the fire department to account for these excess expenditures.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, next one, please.
Next one is from James Bradford. Hello, my name is James Bradford. I am not keen on this email thing. My grandson is helping me out. I'm not even sure if I'm doing this correct, but I wanted to ask a few questions. Number 1, why are city employees still at work with all of this stuff going around? Isn't it wiser to just wait out the days as suggested by our president? Number 2, have city employees been instructed on what's going on in other cities? Number 3, why is it that the city isn't shutting down operations or working from home? I've lived here 27 years, and it always seems we wait to do something instead of being the leaders. We all need to help stop this virus, and I feel like my city isn't doing anything. I feel like we're putting the city employees and the general public at risk by not doing anything at all. I mean, we hear there was a case of coronavirus at the high school and they shut down. How do we know if that person went to City Hall or is married to a relative of a City Hall employee? This is how the virus spreads. We need to shut down operations of City Hall for the recommended 15 days minimum. Thank you to whom it may concern. I hope my concerns get read and answered.
Thank you, Jean. Okay, next one, please.
Next one is from Jerry Patras. Public comment submission, City Council meeting, Tuesday, October 17th, 2020. I think she means March 17th. Please read into the record. Agenda item 4, renewal of 5-year general services agreement with the County of Los Angeles. The general services agreement is a renewal of an existing agreement. The agreement is vague. This city council and city manager have outsourced a number of services that city employees have previously performed. Will this extension amendment agreement replace any services that have been or are currently being performed by city employees? Does the GSA contract agreement have a customary not to exceed dollar limitations, or does the city manager have authority to spend without limitations? Please confirm receipt, and we have.
Thank you, Jerry. Okay, next one, please.
Next one is from Nick Lewis. To Honorable Mayor and City Council, my name is Nicholas Lewis, and I am a resident of West Covina and a member of your Community and Senior Services Commission. My discussion tonight is focused solely on the issue of item number 6. During the March 10th, 2020 meeting of the Community and Senior Service Commission, we unanimously voted in favor of a recommendation to the City Council that the Traffic Committee and the actions taken thereunder be subject to the review of one of your commissioners or should be considered an item-by-item basis by the City Council. As it stands, traffic improvements are subject only to internal review by staff with no citizen input, and those recommendations take place during meetings which occur at 3 p.m. and are not widely attended. Moreover, until I personally brought up this concern in commission, most of my colleagues had little insight on how our traffic control sausage in this city is made. As such, I have no doubt that the public at large has an even more substantial knowledge deficit in this regard. With that, the Community and Senior Services Commission has taken it upon itself to consider the actions of the Traffic Committee and will provide you with our own recommendations moving forward in order to attempt to provide at least some resident oversight to this process. As your commission comprised entirely of your appointees voted in favor for the foregoing recommendation, myself included, we strongly urge you to ratify our recommendation and make our consideration of traffic improvements and control on a regular part of our charter moving forward. To that end, I encourage you to put over any consideration of traffic committee recommendations until such time as our residents, you or your designated appointees have had the opportunity to fully consider the recommendations of staff. Thank you, and I wish you all the best of health in the weeks and months to come.
Thank you so much, Nick. Next one, please.
The next one is from Colleen Rosati. Good evening, council, staff, and members of the community. I had planned on attending tonight's council meeting to give the committee an update on the city's investment portfolio. Unfortunately, as many of you may already know, West Covina Unified School District has called for a closure of all of their schools. As employees of West Covina High School, we may have been hit the hardest with possible exposure to the coronavirus. Because of that, the district has asked all of us Bulldogs to self-quarantine, and that's exactly what all of us are doing. I do hope all of you are taking precautions to help keep you and your families healthy and safe as well. Nonetheless, I felt it was important to update you as your elected city treasurer as to where the city stands as far as our current financial portfolio. The investment report that is being presented tonight is for the month end of January. Of January 2020. This report is in compliance with the California Government Code section number 53646. It shares detailed information pertaining to all securities, investments, and monies of the city, as well as reporting on the market value of the investment that we currently hold. When looking at the city's general fund account currently held with Wells Fargo Bank, it had a book value of $4.3 million at the end of January 2020. The city's surplus funds reflected a balance of $56.3 million, of which $17.9 million was invested with the Los Angeles County Investment Pool, LACIP, earning 1.86% at the time, while the remaining $38.5 million in surplus was invested with the Local Agency Investment Fund, LAIF, while earning 1.97% at the time. Both of these accounts are deemed safe and provide us liquidity. Excuse me. The investment portfolio currently with Chandler Asset Management continues to be liquidated, meaning as current investments mature, we are not reinvestment in the market, but taking a much more conservative approach for now and rolling the funds over into one of the two above-mentioned accounts, LAIF or LACIP. This allows us to earn a competitive rate of interest while keeping the funds liquid. And by reducing the portfolio with Chandler, we are also reducing an administration fees currently being charged, which allows us more profitability. The city's overall portfolio, which includes the successor agency funds, has a total cash investment of $72.2 million as of 1/31/2020. However, we do have to keep in mind that only $60.7 million is fully liquid and unencumbered at this time. As we continue to move forward, I, along with the Finance Department, will continue to look for ways to maximize our investments while always keeping safety and liquidity at the forefront. These are trying times, and by taking this conservative position, we are trying to avoid financial loss to the city and its taxpayers. Thanks, City Manager Carmody, for relaying this report on my behalf. Therefore, it is recommended that the City Council receive and file the investment report for the month ended January 31st, 2020. Respectfully, Colleen B. Rosati, elected City Treasurer, City of West Covina.
Thank you, Colleen. Next one, please.
Next one is from Daniel Levanos. He is asking the City of West Covina for a city proclamation for DMV Donate Life California Month. April is Donor Awareness Month. Proclamations are due April 17th, 2020.
Thank you, Danny. Anybody else?
Mark?
Anybody? Another
We have
two?
two.
Okay.
There's going to be two people on this call?
Yeah, one after the other.
Okay. So two people, one person, well, the phone will ring once, then he'll pass the phone and let the next speaker.
Okay, go ahead.
We're waiting for the phone.
Needs to change.
Okay, you are on speaker.
Yeah, go ahead,
Good evening,
please.
City Council, Steve Bennett, longtime resident. Couple things to talk about. First and foremost, Mr. Mayor, I wish I could have done this in person, but as you know, a longtime resident passed away, a longtime involved member of the residency, Forrest Wilkins. So I wanted to start off with something that maybe you'll enjoy. He always liked to start off with a joke from you, and at his funeral yesterday, one of the jokes was this: what is the slipperiest country in the world? That answer is Greece. And I figure you guys will enjoy a Forrest Wilkins joke. Forrest, I've known him my entire life, and I think he deserves the honor. I think
Can you
Mr.
hold
Johnson will be.
on? Miss Mayor Wu has a brief comment.
He passed away?
He passed away? Was
Oh,
the
my
question?
goodness.
Yes.
Nobody notified me. I'm
Forrest
so
Wilkins'
sorry.
funeral was yesterday. He was a longtime resident, married to his wife over 50 years, 30 years in the law enforcement industry as a motor officer with LAPD, had 11 children, and when he wasn't allowed to or able to have children with his wife, they adopted their first 6, I believe, or 6 total, and also eventually were able to have children and had 5 of their own, and he was survived by countless grandchildren and great-grandchildren. I think it was like 25 and 5. So I wanted to pay homage to Mr. Forrest Wilkins, who I've known pretty much my entire life. To flip subjects now, and I hate to do it all in one phone call, but to flip to a second subject, I hope you guys are aware, and I'm pretty sure you are, that 2 weeks ago, the city of West Covina came out and 80% of the voters voted down Measure WC. I've heard that there are people who think that maybe it just needs to be rewritten. If this was passed with a simple majority of 52, 53%, 54% of people voting no, I could understand that logic. However, 80% of your voters voted down this measure. They said no more taxes. Do not come after us for the money. And I believe you guys need to heed that warning if you guys are going to think about trying to do any other tax message or tax measure towards the residents in November, because 80% of the voters did say no. That is a 4-to-1 margin and a very, very large landslide. The last thing I want to point out, and I didn't have any comment to say to this tonight until I got here and realized that you guys have closed down public comment. I have an issue with that. I understand we're dealing with an epidemic or whatever it may be called, pandemic, but I believe there's other ways to allow people to make comments. If you guys set up a line outside of City Hall where people turn in a message and you bring one person in at a time, I believe they should be allowed to speak in front of the council. You have a situation where people are emailing in comments. I believe that's fine for those who wish to do that, but there are still people who wish to show up and speak publicly at the council meetings. By count on the video, you guys have about 10 people sitting in that room, so you're already going against the LA County recommendation of 10 people or less in a room. So I would recommend that we allow residents to come in one at a time and queued in from outside, give their comments, leave, and the next resident come in to be able to speak if we're trying to control the situation. The idea of having people to call in, standing outside the city council chambers if they show up with basically minimal notification to anyone and very lack of communication for the most part out here, I think is a very bad decision. I believe the city needs to take a hard, fast look. If you're looking at trying to control the council comments, not saying that you're doing it intentionally by any means, but if we're looking to try to control the access, then maybe what we need to do is think about canceling the meeting altogether if this is such a concern in a state of emergency, according to the city manager. Again, I understand what the situation is, but I think there's a better, more feasible way for the community to be able to give input to a meeting. I'm going to conclude my comments. There's another gentleman out here that would like to speak, so I'm going to let him give his information. So if you guys can go ahead and listen to him now.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Next,
Bill
please.
Robinson, resident. Bill Robinson, resident. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, well, good evening, council. Bill Robinson, resident. I wrote a letter to the Mount Sac College president, board of trustees, and chief medical officer today, and I wanted to share the letter with you. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, the letter reads, why all the sensationalism and panic? How about using science and some rational judgment-based policy? COVID is a small mutation of a messenger RNA envelope virus that has visited us before as SARS in 2002 and MERS in 2012, respiratory syndrome. Related to the common cold and the pneumonia virus, there is a family of 7 coronas that affect humans. Stay calm. Restaurants, the viable business community, is now being ruined. I've personally consulted 2 practicing Southern California physicians. One teaches immunology to medical students in San Diego. COVID is a nasty version of the flu. We are having a real bad flu season. If a person has a normal immune system, you get the virus and you get over it. Mount Sac is generally an uncompromised, healthy immune systems community. We are living with total disruption for no good reason. Many hands-on college classes cannot be transitioned to online format. Did we forget the Y2K year 2000 insanity? The opioid epidemic killed almost 50,000 Americans last year. Driving an automobile is dangerous. Sheltering in place is nuts under current conditions. Only daily living involves some risk taking for everyone. There's no choice. So college district administrators have taken the bait from tabloid, sensationalistic, infotainment-based media conglomerates that need to be broken apart by the FCC, like AT&T Ma Bell was divested in 1980 by federal court order. Try to get back to normal soon. This too shall pass. Stay calm. Try to restore some sanity, peace, and harmony. Reduce fear. The extreme reactions need to be walked back. Issue 2 is the West Covina issue 2. I'm changing the subject now. The county recorder's office is still counting the West Covina sales tax election votes. The no new taxes side has garnered 80+% at 16,420 votes so far counted. You couldn't get those kind of margins if apple pie and motherhood was on the ballot. It's clear West Covina voters are looking for some counsel, maybe it's you folks, who will stop the uncontrolled, unrestrained spending practices of the past. We don't have a revenue problem. We have a spending problem and a debt problem with unfunded medical and retirement PERS benefit issues, which will only be intensified by the crashing Dow Jones stock market problems. So we've got debt problems, and we've got everybody knows the spending problems. So the voters proved that they've had it with new taxes. We just have to change the uncontrolled spending problem, which goes back, and I wish you good luck. I hope you can be the counsel that changes the uncontrolled spending practices of the past. Good luck.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Yep, appreciate. Okay, before I move to Lisa, your mic. Yeah, thank you. Okay, before I move to city manager, okay, and response, and I want to my condolence to, okay, and first, he's a good friend. He showed up all the time, and I really didn't know he passed away. I'm so shocked. Okay, and otherwise I will attend. Okay, if they invite. I know this tough time, but he's such a nice guy. He really cares about our city, and he always over here joke around with me about his joke. And sometimes it's pretty funny, sometimes it's not so funny. But he's such a nice guy. Okay, he really cares. I really want to show my deepest condolence to his family, and for the loss of the city. And so anyway, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm really shocked. Okay, and I'm waiting for him to show up after this crisis, and he could pop up some kind of joke to cheer us up. So anyway, I'm going to move to city manager response for some of 6, 7, 8 persons regarding their question. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I would appreciate a chance just to respond briefly to the comments, and I apologize to the people that took the trouble to make them. They were unable to be in here tonight, but it was a judgment call in terms of complying with the requirement about social spacing and whether the meeting should be held at all. Regarding Mr. Gorich's comments about the CAFR, the comprehensive annual financial report is prepared following an independent and certified audit. In this case, the report that's before you in your agenda packets is prepared in full compliance with the Governmental Accounting Standing Board's standards. The second speaker had questions about the judgment of whether City Hall should be shut down or not. And it's an interesting question, the kind of question we're going to be dealing with just about every day. We've set up incident action periods, so we're making these decisions every morning at 8 o'clock for the next 24-hour period. These numbers are changing quite a bit in terms of who of our neighbors is open and who's closed. Of nearby 29 city halls, ones that were open as of when this data was assembled a few hours ago. Alhambra is open, Azusa is open, Bradbury is open, although they only have a staff of 3 total. Covina is open, Duarte is open, La Cañada, Flint Ridge is open, La Puente is open, Laverne is open, Monrovia is open, San Gabriel is open, San Marino is open. They're waiting for some direction from their council. South El Monte is open. The rest are available to the public by appointment or closed to the public. We decided to remain open for now because we want to provide good service to our residents. And we have adopted some new protocols within City Hall, for example, building and safety. People want to come in, submit for plan check, apply for building permits, etc. Typically, that counter gets pretty busy. In this case, what we've done differently, it seems to be working, is we're asking applicants to queue up in the lobby. And so they're understanding of that, they're accepting of it, they can maintain social spacing out there, and yet they can still get their city business done. So that seems to be working for now, but we'll continue to evaluate it. The question about the renewal of the county general services agreement, it's a standard agreement. I believe every city in this county has that agreement with the county. It basically allows a city to avail itself of services off the county menu. So in a moment like this, if we needed a new bridge, if we needed who knows what that the county might have available, we could buy it from them, but we'd have to do so in accordance with budgetary authority that the council would grant us. Maybe it's a paving project, maybe it's pothole repair. I don't know what it would be, but it's a standard agreement that's kind of like a tool should we decide we need it. The comment about the traffic committee being taken over by the senior committee, that was baffling to me a bit, because the process now in place that I think is sound is the traffic committee rules, and then those all come to the council as part of a written report, which is publicly available at these meetings. If anybody wants to comment on it, we would welcome that, but most of these are fairly routine, and I'm not aware of any disagreements about any of the ones tonight, and if there were, we would devote more time to hearing those out. 2 people commented on election results, I'm aware, and the treasurer basically reaffirmed her recommendation that the investment report be approved. I have nothing further.
Okay, thank you, City Managers. Okay, quickly regarding our residents Steve talking about why we're doing this. This is not the protection of us. This is the protection of the resident. We want the resident to stay home, okay, because right now, just like the governor, okay, announced, okay, if you're more than 65 years old, please stay home. And then right now, this 2 weeks, they might pick up. So we really need people to stay home, please. Okay, just stay 2 weeks home if you can. Okay, because if the virus cannot continue, okay, and transmit to another person, then you will disappear. But now we continue to get together and they show up, and especially the elderly, and this really we don't want to see. We do not want people to get sick, okay? And that's what the reason we're doing that is not for us, it's for the resident, and especially for our senior, okay, and a lot of regular, we want them to continue to come back to yell at us, so we want you to be healthy, okay? So please, okay, that's one thing. Second thing, and regarding you talking about the city closing by the question, okay, and right now, quick question about the protection for our city employee. Okay, do we have any protection gear provide for them? If they don't, I got a donation from the resident. They gathered about 1 big box of masks. So if our city staff, they want, if I recommend that if they are facing, okay, I'm going to donate this from this person, donate to us, okay, and they don't want to donate to West Covina city staff. They want to make sure our city staff is safe. I want to make sure everybody's safe, okay, and they have all the sanitizers to wash their hand, and they have a mask when they're talking to the public, okay, and we need to have a function to our city to protect our residents. So first, protect themselves. Second, provide the service, protect our residents. It's so important right now. We need to deliver food for a lot of elderly and disabled. They might have a hard time right now to get supply. We need our staff or volunteer and organize to help them. So I hope city manager, you understand, we give you the power, you need to organize. And the final quick question, if we, okay, you decide to shut down, how we provide the service for those people?
Regarding the donation of the mask, Mayor, thank you very much. Some commodities are in short supply. We've got supplies available for our public safety departments, but for City Hall, we would welcome the donation. In terms of how we would staff, I mean, that's really the heart of the question. The other city halls on this list in our region are closed to the public but staffed within. Some of them are doing it by appointment. Some of them are doing it electronically whenever they can. We think it's very hard to do that entirely through the phone and through email, and it's much more efficient to do business with the city in person, but we'll continue to evaluate that every day.
Okay, thank you, City Manager. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify that not all city employees are currently working, and in regards to city non-essentials are closed down. So I am aware that, you know, Cameron Park, they're closed. It's just things that are essential that are open. And I know, you know, there's some tasks that can't be done from home. So our maintenance still cleaning and sanitizing, I mean, that is a key element here in our city. So if maintenance are still cleaning and sanitizing the streets, you know, the area, that is key element. We can't send them home, as well as other things like our senior lunch program that is still being implemented, correct?
It definitely is. We've modified it a bit, and you are correct. I should have said, and I'll get to it when we get to the manager's report in terms of what programs we've postponed and suspended. But we've transitioned from doing the lunch program with our own cook in our own facility to doing it on a drive-up window basis. We've set pop-ups up in the parking lot. And we're doing, well, today, 45 box lunches were passed out, and we've changed the type of meal. Instead of a hot meal, now it's moving into frozen because there's less questions about the preparation of it. And we're also doing deliveries. Today, the number was 50 of those. So you add up the two of those, we're still not quite back up to the numbers we were before in terms of people coming for a hot lunch, but we are helping to meet the need, and we want to meet the need of any senior that wants to avail themselves of it.
Thank you.
So, okay, it's so important. We need to provide service for the people it's needed, okay, and we can just abandon, okay, we can just close down and move out. And what happened to our senior? What happened to the people who need service? What happened to the people who need, okay, all this supply, okay, and that's why I'm so lucky to have this, okay, Chinese American Association donate this big, okay, box and thousands of okay, and mask, okay, to help our staff. We need our staff to be healthy so they continue to serve as to protect our residents. Okay, I know our police and fire, they get it from the government, okay, with N95 mask, but I think our worker, our staff, okay, I'm going to provide this, okay, to you tomorrow, bring it to the city council, okay, city hall, and you can please give to our staff. Then they can use one day, okay? They can put the mask one day. If they're outside talking to general public, please wear that mask, okay, to protect themselves. Okay, we need them to be healthy, and then so protect themselves to understand this virus. If they don't get to you, you will be healthy. But if they get to you, you give to somebody else, then everybody get it. So we need to protect. And so anyway, thank you. Any other council? Yeah, go ahead.
There it goes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, I do agree with what you said, and what the Mayor Pro Tem said, you know, and plus what staff said. You know, City Hall cannot completely close down. You know, we need to have those essential services. I talked to a lot of council members and mayors and stuff because, you know, the San Gabriel Valley Mosquito, those all council members and mayors, and there's like 30 of us there. Not one of those cities have closed down. They've cut back on the services, but they have essential people there at City Hall to answer those essential questions. I don't believe as a city that we're putting our employees at risk because I think we're taking it, you know, the way it's supposed to be. We're not having 10 people in the same room at the same time, or maybe 1 or 2 people in there to take care of it and stagger it. But I feel we cannot shut the city down. We need to still supply the services because somebody may call City Hall. And if we don't have, that one time we don't have somebody to answer, it could be an emergency that we have a big problem. So I look forward to keeping City Hall open, even if it's on a minimum basis that you're doing it.
Very good. Anybody?
Through the chair, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't mean to be so chatty tonight, but it's a new time and we're building a new normal. Conversation I had with the Mayor Pro Tem, I lose track of the days. It might have been yesterday, it might have been today. But I'd just like to say that we are really blessed to be a full-service city right now, to have our own police department, to have our own fire department. The number of calls has gone up, but they're meeting them. And the same holds true with respect to community services, with respect to public works. Our employees are our biggest assets, and they're really stepping up, and I'm really proud of how they're responding in this moment.
Okay, thank you. Now we move to, okay, manager report. and to keep the service. We need that service to help our residents.
So you can monitor here which ones are coming up. So just advance with the arrow.
Good evening again. I'd like to provide a brief report, and I've asked the chief to sit in to expand a bit about how things are progressing and changing temporarily with police services. Technologically challenged here, I'm sorry. First point to the made is the one that we've already talked about. The city is open for business. We're open to the public. City services are still being provided. In the building, planning, fire, and finance portions of City Hall with city engineering, we're taking one customer at a time. It seems to be working. The feedback I've been getting is good. I'm going to ask the Chief of Police to review what changes are going on at this moment in the police department.
Thank you, City Manager, and good evening, Council. First and foremost, I'd just like you to know that the police department is doing well under the circumstances. We are meeting with our other departments and chiefs to strategize on regional type efforts should we have to embark on them. This morning, I was able to send out a message to our department, and I kind of outlined some areas that we will reduce in order to stop the spread of this virus. And the first thing we did was we implemented a level 3 tactical alert. And what that does is it puts every employee on notice that vacations, time off, and those sort of things may be interrupted should an emergency occur or should we have to do more. If the hospital gets overwhelmed or something like that and I need officers to come in, level 3 tactical alert would allow me to call those officers in for any circumstances. We are doing that every day up until April 13th, at which time we will reevaluate where we are. I have canceled a few programs, large meetings, staff meetings have been canceled. The lobby has been closed. We thought that that was a very effective thing to do. We don't want people walking in and infecting each other, nor infecting employees. The police volunteer programs, which is our elderly generation, we thought that it was imperative that we leave them at home. I'm sure they agreed. That was a program that was suspended. We may take that to the end of April. It just depends on where we are. The Explore program, and although our young people have a strong immune system, we do not know what they're taking back to their homes. They may have elderly people, grandmothers, uncles, aunts that they're living with, so we wanted to mitigate that by canceling that program. No canine demonstrations, no visitations to the jail. Again, all of these actions will be reevaluated on April 13th. All training has been suspended. That includes travel for those things that are extremely important. We will evaluate that on a case-by-case basis. Our dispatchers are extremely important. We have decided not to allow them to come to briefings. We wanted them to stay where they are. They're protected. We need them. It is a very tedious job, and if someone goes down in that unit, it could cause us some problems. So they are safe where they are. The SROs who attend our schools, we have obviously, since the schools are closed down, we brought them back to patrol to beef up our patrol areas. And we have made some modifications to our patrol efforts in terms of misdemeanor arrest. If it's something that we do not have to bring to the department, we have told our officers to cite and release in the field unless it's of an extreme importance or danger that we have to have them in there. This will also coincide with the courts who have shut down at least through the rest of this week, and it could be longer. So we're having to make our decisions based off of certain court decisions and based off of what we feel is right and who we bring into the department. For some of you that don't know, we do have a level 1 jail facility So it's very important that we protect the employees that are in that facility as well. These are some of the things that we are doing in the department. We feel that by doing these things, it will help mitigate the spread of this disease. I had an opportunity to look at our call for service over the last month, and it looks like we've been stable from February to March, and I'll give you an example. On Priority 1 calls, at the beginning of February or mid-February, we had 38 calls. In mid-March, we had 32, pretty consistent. Priority 2 calls, we had 438. Mid-February and mid-March, we have 373, which is a slight drop. And with Priority 3 calls, in mid-February, we had 209. And in mid-March, we had 200. So our calls for service have been pretty consistent. We haven't seen a major spike or a major drop. That's all I have at this point, and I'll turn it back over.
Chief, okay, we have a question?
Yes.
I know some of the community are concerned about everything that's going on out there. I just wanted to make sure and clarify that police presence hasn't been diminished out in the community, correct?
Yeah, I could have elaborated a little more on that, so let me explain a little bit. So some of the efforts that we've done is we've turned our patrol force. The schools are not in, so we are absolutely watching the schools. We are watching grocery stores, department stores, because we know that they are closing down. None of our personnel have been removed from the field. We've actually added to the field, and we will continue to keep it that way. Now, I will say, for me, the utmost important thing is to keep those guys healthy. So we're doing all of the things that our health partners have told us to do, to the point that we can provide a good service to our people.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. And I think it's so important right now to step up to let our residents to see the presence of the police. Okay, and because people are very worried right now, and you see, okay, a lot of people even worry about buying grocery. Okay, due to this issue, people panic. So we want to tell people, calm down. Okay, we are going to have all the food for them and all the supply, and at the same time, because the police present and you step up, we want to assure that our resident, the city is continue, not only didn't reduce, we step up to make sure our city is safe. Now, based on what you just told us, you even have a more patrol for our residents. So I want to thank you, okay, during this tough time, and have our officer right now, okay, and to protect our residents, to make sure our city is intact and all the people, they are protected. So thank you so much, okay, Chief. And any other question? Okay, thank you so much. And the city manager, you want to continue?
Thanks. As long as we're talking public safety, I'd just like to briefly mention we've also changed some protocols in our fire department. We're running about 9,400 calls a year over the last month. That's about 300 a week, but in the most recent 2-week period, we're up about 30 calls, which is a 10% hike. We've got our first responders in the fire department gearing up differently with personal protective equipment, one person going in making assessments and some different things with respect to transport and disinfecting the unit when we get the people to the hospital. But we want people to call us if they need us. And I promised I'd keep this brief, and I'll try. Here's a list of the city facility closures that are in effect: Cameron Community Center, Shadow Oak Community Center, Cortez Park Community and Senior Center, Palmview Park, Vincent School Daycare, and West Coast School Daycare. We've got a lot of part-timers driving these programs, and we're finding other meaningful, important work for them during this season. We're going to continue to hold council meetings because we've got important business that goes on. We had a good example tonight of how we amended oral communications. We want people to be able to participate, but we want to accommodate that electronically, et cetera, when we can. Impact to services is we're not running classes, we're not rentals, we're not making trips. We're postponing everything, and our elderly meal program is being offered on a curbside pickup basis. Business closures, this is a very important one. We get a number of advisories from all kinds of different agencies. And the question is, which one do you follow? The president says one thing, which is based on what the medical admiral says, the World Health Organization, the CDC. The one that we're following the most closely now is the LA County Health Department. So their advisory to close. These businesses went into effect yesterday. Restaurants, although we are going to allow them to do takeout, curbside pickup, delivery, and drive-through operations. Ones that have to close are bars, nightclubs that don't serve food, movie theaters, live performance theaters, bowling centers, arcades, fitness centers, and gyms. Those are all suspended, and we are encouraging all businesses to follow social distancing. I've wondered how quickly LA County will follow the path of the San Francisco Bay Area, San Francisco, San Mateo, Santa Cruz counties. They haven't given us a date, but they've hinted that that could be coming, so we're going to try and be as prepared for that as we can should that moment come. All businesses are changing their hours and following shorter hours of operation. The Plaza West Covina is now operating 11 to 7, and they're trying to accommodate special hours for at-risk individuals. I want to specifically thank Stater Brothers, who tomorrow morning is going to have at their very opening hours just for senior citizens only. We want to be aware of price gouging. Governor Newsom has issued an executive order implementing an anti-price gouging statute, and we want to try and support our local businesses as we can. If we can't buy goods there directly, we want to encourage our residents to buy gift cards from them to help them get through this season. I mentioned the social spacing. We're following the LA County Health Order. How to help? We want to encourage people to check in on their at-risk neighbors. Neighbor to neighbor is probably the best thing that can be done. Offer to run errands for them, offer to pick up supplies, start a community group, be it online or whatever. Help teach those that might not be technically as able how to order items and services online, and donate to food banks. Oh, one last thing, which is a bit of good news. These are the faces of our new 7 members of our code enforcement team. These are part-time employees who started this week, and they're really making an immediate impact. That's all I have available for questions.
Okay, sorry, quickly. Yeah, City Manager. Okay, regarding your, it's great idea. Don't lay off anybody because everybody need their salary right now. Okay, and but I think those people service the community. I think we can using them to serve those elderly and disabled. Okay, and to have them to deliver the supply because they really have a hard time, and I saw it myself. So we need to help them. And another thing we need, I think we in the meeting we're talking about, we need to survey, have a resident to tell us how many, because not everybody joined the senior center program. So we still have a lot of hidden, and they are living by themselves. We need to find out those people. We need to provide service for them, help them to purchase their and medicine, pick up their thing. So I think our staff, also staff can help it. And not only that, I think I forward you a lady. She has a group. Our resident volunteered to help out. I think you got an email, right? I forward, yes. So would you please contact her because we need to all the help we need right now to help all the residents and during this very tough time. So this is one thing. And then regarding Stater Brothers, I think this is excellent, for them to, provide just the special. Do you have a schedule? What time?
I think it's 7:30.
Do you have time?
I was going to say 7:45. Councilmember, you might be right.
7:45 only for the senior.
7:45 to 8:45.
7:45. So senior, please. 7:45. If you're about 65, right? 65. 7:45 to 8:45 only for senior. They can go inside to get anything they want from Stater Brothers on Azusa. And the second thing I want to say, I know Sprout, I talked to their manager, and they provide the free same-day delivery. So we have a lot of a program. We just need to tell the resident we have a lot of service, and I think the most they worry about is supply. That's about toilet paper. That freaking toilet paper. And the water bottle. So we need to find out how to limit people. Don't freaking stock all those things. Then later on they're going to refund and waste all the energy. Please just using what you can have, and then the rest please give to share with your neighbor. Don't panic. We are going to the toilet paper made in USA. So it's going to come in, and all the sanitizer, everything made in USA. Okay, what about made in USA? So no point, okay, to put stock, okay, kind of clutter your garage, okay, and later on you cannot even sell it. So anyway, and Johnson, you want to say something?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Two things. First, about the water bottles. Our water here is really better than the water bottles. It's safer. It's cleaner. So, like, we have a filter on a refrigerator. We don't have to buy bottled water. We use the filtered water. So it's just as good. Another thing I wanted to mention, Northgate, there's one in West Covina. They open up at 7 a.m. in the morning from 7 to 8 for seniors only. So that's another supermarket in West Covina besides Stater Brothers. Northgate, I think the one we have is over on Francis Skeeter and Sunset.
Paulina, can you put all this information, okay, into our site so people basically can see, okay, the link, so we can have all those information provide, okay, for our resident. I think all the information we can have, so we can give to, okay, our site, so people say get help, okay, if they need help. So we have a hotline for them, and then we have another email. Basically, is for, okay, people provide. They want to help. One is they want to get help. Another one, they want to help people. We have so many people want to help. I'm flooded with email. They want to help. So please, okay, let's get this thing organized, people, okay, and starting, okay, make all these things happen, because in that way we can basically coordinate all the resources and make sure everybody get what they want. Okay, am I right, City Manager? Would you please make it happen? Okay, and any other City Council want to say something? Okay, do you want to say more? No? Then I'm going to go to consent calendar. Okay, before I started meeting, we should have a presentation. I want to explain to the people, okay, the audience, okay, on the TV. Okay, all the presentation have been postponed. Supposedly we have 3, okay, and due to this issue, so later on we're going to bring them back. So we love those children, but in this tough time, we want them to, when the time is safe, we will have them come back to be recognized. Then we go to consent calendar, okay, and who want to pull anything, go ahead. Councilman Johnson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to poll number 7, and I'd like to see if we can table it for now until after we get back to our normal council meetings, because I know there's quite a few residents up there that are against this project. When we had our meeting here out there in the community service, probably about a few weeks ago, we had like a dozen people here, and not one of them was for it. And I told them that the seniors, I don't want them coming tonight. So I'd like to put it on hold, postpone it until we get back to normal. We can re-agendize it and send notices out against them. Again, that's on Pacific right there, and that's what it's about. So I'd like to make a motion that we postpone this until...
Okay. Yeah, can we have other council?
Yes,
okay, then we go to you, then we call you up. Okay, so let's step by step. Okay. And do we have any council want to pull any agenda? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not pull, but just like number 7, I like to table it for time.
I know. Do you have another one? I think you have number 6, right? You told me number
That's it. That's the one, number 6.
Number 6, yeah. Okay. So I have number 6 from Councilman Casiano and number 7 from Johnson, Councilman Johnson to pull. Okay, do you have anything? Okay, so do I have a motion to approve agenda item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, and 11?
Make a motion, next step. Make a motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so I have Councilman Johnson move the motion to approve 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then I have, okay, Councilman Casiano second. Roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos?
Aye.
Councilman Johnson?
Aye.
Councilmember Shoemaker is absent. Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado?
Aye.
Mayor Wu?
Aye, so it's 4 approved, 1 absent. And so 4-0. Okay, then we, okay, approve for the motion. Then we move on to item number 6. And Councilman Casiano, go ahead.
Well, just pursuant to Nick Lewis's comments, I'd like to table it for future discussion.
Okay.
So we could all decide, if we'd like to discuss it all as a council or delegate it to a commission, but also just for clarification for our entire community about how that all works.
And I have a question for City Manager. This item is not urgent, right? We can wait for a couple weeks when we have a full force of people coming back, and then we have an audience, resident have concern, they can kind of address to us.
I don't believe either of these are time sensitive. With
Very
respect
good.
to number 6, I'm not aware of any issues about
Because it's just
the
a
merits
traffic,
of those,
yeah.
but bringing it back, it certainly
Okay.
isn't a problem. With
Very good.
respect to number 7, bringing it back, also not a problem. It's a City of Baldwin Park project, which isn't in my control, but I think everyone understands that.
Okay, so basically I have 2 items, number 6 and number 7, want to be tabled, right? Okay, so and I have who want to make a motion for both?
I'd like to make a motion for item 6 and item number 7.
Okay,
To table them for now.
Okay, very good. Okay, so Councilman Johnson moved
And
the
I'll
motion.
second that.
Then I have a second from Councilman Casiano. Can you roll call, please? Do I have anything? You want to say something? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos,
Aye.
Councilman Johnson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado,
Aye.
Mayor Wu.
All right, so 4-0 approved. So we're going to table this for the future when we have a full force and the audience they can give us the feedback, and then we can decide that time. So thank you. So 4-0 approved, table it for future discussion. Then we move on to the public hearing. Okay, and okay, number 12. Okay, and I want to make a motion on number 12 about cell tower thing. Table this for the future discussion too. So I want to make a motion on this. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
So I have first from me, okay, and a motion to table it. And then I have a second from Councilman Johnson, because this is a lot of information, and we don't have an audience, so we hope we can have a better, discussion with a full force for everybody have a chance to look into it. So roll call, please.
Mr. Mayor, are we going to continue this to a date certain, or are we going to renotice this altogether because of the uncertainty of our next meeting? We'll renotice it anyway. Okay.
Then we notice it's not a time sensitive, right? The city manager.
Excuse me.
So I don't think we should do it right now with another full council and another full of audience. So I think I'm sorry to bother you guys, and have a good night. Okay, so I should tell you from the beginning, but we need to have a vote. Okay. So anyway, for that, then should we roll call, please?
Yes. Councilman Castellanos,
Aye.
Councilman Johnson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado,
Aye.
Mayor Wu.
All right, 4-0 approved. Okay, and then we move to number 13. 13 will be a CDBG fund. Okay, and I don't think this one we need to table, because this is very straightforward. Okay, we've done this for so many years. So, and the city managers, who is going to make the report?
Mr. McDonald will make the report tonight.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Good evening. This matter concerns the consideration of priorities for the development of the draft fiscal year 2020-2024 Community Development Block Grant Consolidated Plan.
Kelly, we can't hear you.
I'm sorry, some mic's up. Okay, I'm sorry. This matter concerns a consideration of priorities for the development of the draft fiscal year 2020-2024 Community Development Block Grant Consolidated Plan. As a condition of receiving federal CDBG funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, the city is required to prepare a consolidated plan, which serves as a strategic visioning document and describes the intended use of CDBG funds over a 5-year cycle. In recent years, the city has used the CDBG funds for a variety of uses: business assistance program, housing preservation program, public infrastructure improvements, funding various public services. And the purpose of this hearing is to provide an opportunity for comment on the needs of the priorities on which the plan is to be based, and for the City Council to approve a relative prioritization of the community needs in regard to the use of CDBG funds. Now, for the prioritization is a fairly simplistic one: high, medium, and low. For clarification, the levels of priority correspond to whether or not the city would intend to use CDBG funds to address a particular category of need. High means that CDBG funds would be used. Medium means they would may be used, and low means they would not be used. The broad categories of community need are shown in Table 1 and described in Attachment 1. Staff is recommending a continuance of the prioritization that is shown in Table 1. This was the basis of the most recent annual action plan. And this is the reason for this recommendation of a continuance is that the funding is relatively flat and is actually declining. We've received notice in regard to the funding for next year, and it's down slightly from the current year. Now, with the approval of this item, staff can begin with drafting the consolidated plan and continue with the process of evaluating public service providers. Those applications are out and due back to the city tomorrow, and as well as capital projects, reviewing those against a relative prioritization. Now, the draft will be available for a 30-day required public review, then presented to council in a public hearing in May. There is an online survey accessible through the city's webpage. Results as of March 10 are included in this report as attachment 2. And the survey will continue to be open throughout the process, and responses will be incorporated into the draft and brought to consideration. There is no fiscal impact resulting from the report. Therefore, the recommendation is that the City Council direct staff to develop a draft fiscal year 2020-2024 CDBG consolidated plan based on the priorities in table number 1. That concludes my report, and I'll be happy to answer questions.
Yes, before I move on, okay, I want to Assistant City Clerk verify the proper legal notice has been given.
Verified.
Okay, see, I didn't forget. Okay, and the next thing I want to say, Ms. Assistant City Clerk, have you received any comment concerning the CDBG priority?
I have not.
Have none. Okay, so now we go back to, we just have the presentation as council. Do you have any question before I move to the oral communication for the empty chair? Okay. Okay, so any other question? No. So, and then I'm going to move to the community. Okay, do we have a receiving, okay, from the community room? Do we have anybody want to talk about this? None? There's no one present. They're good. So everybody go home, behave, and quarantine themselves for these 2 weeks. Very, very good. Okay, I want everybody to be safe. So for that, okay, and we go back to any council to discussion, anything, any question for, okay, no? And I have to say something, and okay, quickly, okay. The CDBG fund, and we've done this so many years already, and I always talking about the homeless and the housing. Remember, I said it always is the priority. Yes. Okay, and then we need to keep on that priority. And the more important thing is we done this. Okay, we will approve it, but we need to have our staff to tell our resident we have all this thing for you guys. Mm-hmm. Do I make sense? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So rather than we approve, but the money. I remember last year you told me we still have $1 million on the CDBG fund, the housing that people didn't apply, and right? I think you told me that last year we have about almost $1 million on the CDBG fund for housing assist. Am I right? I remember. I have a good memory.
The home loan program.
Yes. For the people.
Currently, there's a balance in that program of $140,000, but we are working through that. CDBG funded. There may be the housing preservation program has 2 funding sources. That might be a different funding source, but there's $140,000 roughly in CDBG funds that has been approved for that. That's still available. We're working through an issue with HUD on that program currently, and once we resolve, we'll move forward with that.
Good. And you can tell us how to apply for people if they need this program after we approve regarding a priority about this thing?
Yes.
Can you tell us how the people to get all this resource?
Well, the home improvement loan program is run through the community development department. The information is on the city's webpage, and I believe the application is up there as well. Otherwise, they can contact the city, and they would be happy to mail that application out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate. Okay, I think I forgot to close. Okay, the public comment portion of the hearing and City Council decision. And now I will ask you a question. So, do you have any comment? And any other question? No, none. Okay, everybody want to go home. I know. I'm going to say you go home now. Okay. Now we motion to order to approve the priority for the development of the draft FY 2020-2024 Community Development Block Grant CDBG Consolidated Plan, and then I'm going to. Do you need to read again? No, right? So I already read it for you. Man, I'm doing your job. Okay. So for that, who want to move the motion?
Move the motion.
Okay. And so Councilman Johnson moved the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. I have Councilman Casiano. Okay, a second. So who has a question? So say something. Go ahead.
Before you adjourn.
I'm not adjourning. Okay. I'm voting. I'm still. You are too fast. Okay. We have a lot of comment. Okay, I will give you the time, but now let me finish my cast vote. Okay, so we have a first, we have a second, have a CDBG fund. Roll call, please.
Can you please go over the first and second one more time?
Okay. So the first will come from move the motion by Councilman Johnson, and then second by the Councilman Casiano. Cast the vote, please. Roll call, please.
Thank you. Councilman Castellanos.
Aye.
Councilman Johnson.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado.
Aye.
Mayor Wu.
I apologize.
Sorry. Okay, city manager, want to say something? I didn't turn on the. Okay.
We had a comment come in, but it didn't come in any of those other ways. It came in via a text, if you'll allow it. From
Yes, go ahead.
One of
Freedom
our
of speech.
residents,
Go ahead.
Sue Oldamagino, says, and I'd just like to read it. I would like to thank our city government for being very proactive in this crisis. I would like to offer West Covina residents page to be a part of the donation process. We all want to be a part of helping our city and neighbors. Let's include our social media audience. It's a comment from a resident.
Okay, thank you, Sue. Thank you so much for your service and your help. Okay, and now we move on to our council comment. Anybody want to say anything before I send you home?
No, that was the same comment that she texted me to.
Okay, and anybody want to say something? Okay, and you want to say something? No? Yes? Huh? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead.
Okay. So pretty much I know during this whole time, I just wanted to remind our resident that our job as a city council is to protect life and property. So, your health, safety, well-being is the utmost important to us. Also, just wanted to let you know, at my work, I'm also considered a disaster service worker. So at any given time, I can be quickly called in during an emergency or disaster if this goes further. That being said, I just wanted to make sure that everyone does their part. And I just would like to request that the residents stay calm. Panic and stress is not good for your health, and we'd like to make sure that everybody stays healthy with your loved ones and take care of yourself. Also, I just wanted to make sure that, continue to help those in need and following the CDC guidelines, which we should already be doing. These are the basic things, especially hand washing. If you're feeling sick or you're feeling ill, please keep at distance. Well, stay home, recover. The key for all of this is really prevention, just to stop the growth from all this occurring. I just wanted to let residents know that our city is working very hard. That you may not see every little detail, or hear every little thing that's going on, whether it's an individual or as a whole, but I just wanted to let them know that our city's working very hard behind the scenes, dealing with all of this. The coronavirus obviously impacts the elderly, the older adults, and those with serious health conditions. So I know out there people are hoarding supplies, and it's sad to see that those who need it the most are not able to have it. But through social media, thank you with the residents page, I do see residents offering assistance or providing supplies that others may not have for, their, one of the ones that was recently at CVS, all the alcohol pads, and those who are diabetic need to take care of themselves, and they need those alcohol pads for those needles to go through that. So I just wanted to say, thank you, that there are still good people out there. Residents do care, so I want to thank you very much for helping those who are in need, offering your assistance. And, for everybody else, if you have concerns, feel free to bring it up to us. I know sometimes we get emails and messages and we, follow through. I know I get some of those emails, we do respond back. And I just wanted to let people know, those who are whining, complaining, and blaming, that's not going to help at all. So I do ask that everybody offer solutions, suggestions, things that can better our city, better the resident and everyone. So if we all do our part, we can get through this. I mean, it's history repeats itself. We've done it before. We just need to all work together. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you to our city. Thank you to our residents, everybody out there helping, and we greatly appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Okay, good speech. Anybody want to say something? Okay, and go ahead. Yeah.
I'll just echo that sentiment. Yes. Thank you. Like our mayor said, very good speech. Everyone, just please stay calm. We'll get through this. We're all going to be fine. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councilman Casiano. Okay, and you want to say something? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do agree with what's been said. What we need to do is be kind to each other. You have a lot of elderly out there that need help. You go to the store and you find an elderly person coming to the store and they can't find anything. And so I'm so really thrilled that Stater Brothers stepped up to the plate. Northgate stepped up to the plate. We need others. I think if any residents hears of any other stores that are stepping up for the elderly, please inform the city so we can get it out on the web pages and inform everybody, because the more we know, the better off we will be. Please, there's plenty of food out there. And like the mayor says, this stuff is made here in the United States. We don't have to import it from anywhere. It's here. There's plenty of it to go around, so we don't have to hoard it. So let's be kind to each other. If you need somebody who needs a helping hand, help them. It doesn't have to go out of your way to help somebody. And just be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Johnson. Okay, I want to say this again. Okay, we are here. We didn't cancel the council meeting because it's so important. Okay, we want to show the resident we still do our job. The city will continue to do their job. We are here to serve, okay, to make sure to protect our residents. So I want to tell the resident, don't worry, okay, nothing to worry. We will be here, police and fire, we even step up even more. No point waiting the line and running around and worry about the thing. The anxiety is not healthy. Okay, we are here together. The government, the city employees over here. And I really want to thank this gentleman, Henry Mao. Today he delivered a box of and the mask that is kind of difficult to get right now. And he told me, he want to donate to our city staff. He want to make sure our staff is healthy. So I want to see, we have a lot of good people, and that they come in to want our staff to be healthy. So you guys can continue to do your job. At the same time, we want to let our residents understand we are here no matter what to help you. And for your neighbor, if you see any neighbor need help, please, if you cannot help them, let the city know. We will help them. We will absolutely, we're not going to abandon any people. We will deliver the supply for them. And we're talking to the manager, of store manager of all those supermarket, and they say they will step up. They deliver 2 times a day. They will make sure they have everything. And I think we went over there, we checked, and they're full. Something is missing because the people panicking, like toilet paper, like a water bottle, but it's starting, limited people to purchase. And other than that, we have a dairy, milk, or eggs. Sometimes they disappear very fast, but they continue to supply. Nothing to worry. We're here together. We're going to go through this together. But again, I said that united, we stand. We can pull through it. But these 2 weeks, please try to stay home. Try to, and put yourself inside the house and don't come out. Make sure you're healthy. we want to see everybody back, including myself, including my colleague, come back 2-3 weeks, and we still very, very healthy, and we still continue to do our city business. But no matter what, okay, God bless you, God bless West Covina, and God bless United States of America, and we can pursue this. We are almighty American. We can do it. Okay, thank you so much. And other than that, we are going to adjourn the meeting. Okay, meeting adjourned, and good night, and stay healthy and stay safe. Thank you.